Good day, and once again, a warm welcome to the 2020 Cabin Designated Examiner and Instructor Conference. This segment deals with ATO-related matters, and the topics I will be discussing are Part 141 Regulatory Changes, Tpm Checklist and Training Hours, ATO Renewals, Desktop Audits, and e-learning requirements. Part 141 CATs and CARs have been amended and will hopefully be promulgated soon. The most significant changes are in the following areas. Nominated post holders. An ATO shall ensure that the following nominated post holder positions are reflected in their TPM. Accountable manager, head of training, quality manager, and safety manager. The training program developer post is a new requirement. However, this is not a nominated post, and the responsibilities may be integrated with another role within the organization. The qualifications and responsibilities for post holders will be found in the amended Part 141 CATS document. All cabin training devices will have to be accredited. Devices that have been approved in the past will go through a re-accreditation process. Cabin training devices will receive an accreditation in line with the training capabilities that can be performed on the device. In order to get a new device approved, the ATO will have to apply to amend their ATO approval and pay the relevant fee. Thereafter, an inspection is carried out on the device, and if found satisfactory, a letter of accreditation is issued. The training device must be included in the TPM and will also be reflected on the operation specification. The requirements for cabin training devices can also be found in the amended Part 141 CATS document. The quality section has been expanded on a great deal. In addition to existing quality prerequisites, the following will be required in future. An organizational risk profile, which is an inventory of identified hazards and threats that present risks, which are likely to prevent conformity with the required standards of performance. A risk management plan, which is a plan designed to mitigate the identified risks, real or potential, which were derived from the organizational risk profile exercise. The Coherence Matrix, sometimes known as the Correspondence Matrix, which is a very powerful addition to the ATO compliance efforts. It is a detailed tabulated document that lists all the applicable regulatory requirements imposed on an ATO, the existing processes, and the person responsible for the effective implementation of each process. The Quality Assurance Audit Program should include all planned and systematic actions necessary to provide confidence that every training activity is conducted in accordance with all applicable requirements, standards, and procedures. Quality assurance will no longer be the responsibility of the quality manager only. Training on the quality system will make quality assurance applicable to all levels of the organization. The requirement to adopt SMS practices as per CAR Part 140 is intended to be restricted to ATOs conducting flight training. In the case where ATOs only provide ground training, SMS practices are applicable for the mitigation of risks pertaining to occupational health and safety standards. TPM shall include a clear definition of the level of safety that an organization intends to achieve and proof that the ATO has implemented adequate safety measures to maintain the required level of safety. The components and elements required for a safety management system are a safety policy and objectives, safety risk management, safety assurance, the management of change, continuous improvement of the SMS, safety promotion, safety communication, and safety reporting requirements. Duty period limitations have been included in the regulations and technical standards. Cabin designated examiners and instructors shall not conduct more than 8 hours of training and/or assessments in a 24-hour period. They shall not conduct training and/or assessments for more than 6 consecutive days without having a minimum of 1 calendar day off, and they will be required to have at least 2 consecutive days off in a 14-day period. Candidate CDEs and instructors shall not observe, co-facilitate, or assess, neither train nor assess under supervision more than 8 hours in a 24-hour period. They are required to have 1 day off after 6 consecutive days of facilitation or assessing, and at least 2 consecutive days off in a 14-day period. There are similar limitations for AVMED DEs and dangerous goods instructors contained in the regulations. The current TPM checklist is based on the amended Part 141 Regs and Technical Standards and is 90% aligned at present. It can be used as a tool to ensure that manuals are aligned to the relevant requirements. When completing the checklist, we indicate whether you are fully compliant, not compliant, or if something is not applicable. Not reviewed will be indicated by the inspector if a particular section of the manual has not been assessed. The training hours are contained in the Cabin Safety Training Program Assessment Form. There is significant changes to practical training hours, and this change is based on the technical guidance material for CDEs and instructors, which will be published shortly. ATOs may opt to be more restrictive, but not less restrictive when drawing up their training programs. You will notice that ATO certificates are issued for a period of 5 years. The ATO certificate will always be accompanied by an operation specification which is issued annually. ATOs are required to submit a renewal application form and proof of payment of the renewal fee at least 30 days prior to the expiry date reflected on the OPSPEC. We will conduct either one ad hoc or one renewal audit on the ATO within a financial year. Should an initial or annual audit exceed 4 hours, the client will be billed an hourly rate as per Part 187. Due to COVID-19 restrictions, we have seen a significant increase in desktop audits being conducted by the SACAA. The application and payment procedure remains the same as that of an on-site audit. ATOs will receive an email detailing the audit program and audit process. ATOs will be required to conduct a self-audit and return the audit checklist and corresponding evidence prior to the audit. Evidence can also be submitted via SharePoint, Dropbox, etc. The opening and closing meetings are conducted via Microsoft Teams. Because of contact training being limited due to COVID-19 protocols, the SACAA allowed virtual training to be conducted by ATOs. This dispensation was granted until the end of November 2020. This is not to be confused with e-learning, which requires a more formal application process. Should an ATO wish to conduct e-learning, the TPM must be amended to include policies and procedures for e-learning. The training program, which includes hours, must be developed and submitted for approval. The ATO must ensure that learners and instructors are familiar with the e-learning system. This may require some training or a familiarization tutorial. The ATO must also ensure that adequate learner support is provided. In addition, we require security and backup procedures which include authentication, and lastly, a demonstration of the e-learning system. A word of caution. Please do not only convert your training manual and PowerPoint presentation into PDF. An e-learning system requires additional tutorials, videos, online instructor assistance, etc. A risk matrix can be found in the amended SACAA 141. It lists items that need to be complied with when applying for e-learning accreditation. Cabin crew training will fall under risk category 3, which is defined as mandatory or regulated training with a practical component. For authentication, a login via a unique password is required. Standards would be as per the regulations. All data will be kept for a period of 5 years. Internal moderation is required as well as SACAA audits. Assessments will include a knowledge exam. Should the exam be online, any incorrect answers must immediately be remediated. Security features should include online verification and a secure database of questions. Thank you for your attention, and I hope you found this session informative.